Greetings once again, Soul Familia. In this session, we're going to go a little bit deeper with the Work Your Light and Starseed deck. But first, it's time to readdress the elephant in the room. As it's important that you know, as listeners and not necessarily supporters, that when I speak on energy of any kind, it is not personal or a personal event that is occurring in present time in my life. When it is personal, I'm mindful to mention that it is personal. And make it a point to call myself out when necessary. How many of you can read yourselves without abandon? I'll wait. In the meantime, let's get into the cards and go a bit further down the rabbit hole in terms of that mysterious force that governs all of our lives, beloveds. This intelligence that exists within each and every one of us, not just some chosen one, or somebody with an inflated ego, or those who claim to be of high honor. This mysterious force doesn't play favorites. Every single one of us are spirits' sweethearts. However, the realm we reside in is still polarized, beloveds. That is the actual elephant in the room. Each and every one of us have been working through this polarization and intense division. It's not personal, although it can seem to be a bit bothersome. Until we recognize, and even I have to be on board with this, I'm nobody special or more important or more unique than anyone else. Focusing on our personal energy is the only time it really gets personal. As what initially is perceived as energetic attacks, and sometimes I even utilize that particular dialogue in addressing these energy fluctuations. However, it isn't truly an attack. It is the work of this mysterious force, putting us through preparation stages, beloveds. And Each of us are being guided at this time to be on board with compassion and understand that there is no higher frequency than love, as the truth is found in unconditional love. It's as though they marinate in the same space. So there is no separation from the truth. And this is how we transcend that polarization. It's necessary. Compassion, empathy, forgiveness are powerful tools. And although it's not necessary to forgive on a deeply personal level, it is necessary to elevate the emotional and mental frequencies. By all means, please do. This includes practicing compassion for those with opposing viewpoints. This is how we, even as individuals, can neutralize negative energy, cultivating a frequency of a higher understanding, not a high honor above others, I'm better than you are understanding. As we raise our frequency, a collective shift is occurring. Emphasizing unity. Teaching through example, demonstrating patience, open-mindedness, and clarity in our communication. That is the ripple that these forces that feel like attacks are really preparing us for. Shifting the energy away from us versus them. Which cannot be done from a level of us versus them. So we're going to go into this stack of two different decks combined for some insights and teachable moments. Getting right with the frequency of love, as the truth is found in love, not the other way around. This means that in expressing our truth, beloveds, it's no longer about being the one sounding the most convincing or persuasive. Those days are over. That type of approach is being rendered useless. And as change is raining down upon us, those still stuck in that them versus us narrative will remain knee deep in that mud within the storms of life, challenges to prepare us, especially in trusting our path. And if you knew you would be supported, what would you do? What would you do? Giving you a moment to think about it. Meanwhile, the universe is conspiring. Keep facing your true north. Our job, apparently, and even I have been wrong about this, but what is right and wrong? When we're facing our true north and just taking one step after another. When we're doing this, we can't go wrong. Our heart is a compass as we put one foot in front of the other, overcoming that temptation to be wavered towards self-doubt. We don't call others to do specific energy work unless it is for preparing for progress. This time in hermit mode, in spiritual maintenance, and what have you. We are in preparation. But also, it keeps us aligned in a dedicated direction. Taking one baby step each day. Within a year, you'll have 365 steps. Ooh, in a year from now, you'll turn back and look in awe at how far you have journeyed. Keep showing up. And those who continue to try to micromanage us in the universe will be the ones stuck in the mud. But listen, it will all work out in the end, just like Lemony Snicket's. As soon as they start allowing their soul to lead the way. And instead of looking at them and in their direction with concern or comparison, competition, micromanaging, just know that things will not work out the way that they are planning. And if we spend too much time overly concerned about it, our progress and preparation will also be delayed. So, with that in mind, if you knew you would be supported no matter what would you do? What would you do? Let's go back into the cards for a bit more insight. From the bottom of the deck, we have water your garden, nourishment, body care, tenderness, and rest. So we're actually going to stack these cards from the bottom up, like an energy that is rising, utilizing both the Work Your Light and the Starseed Oracle. Water your garden. Earth is a seasonal planet, and as such, we are seasonal beings, cyclic. We can't be on and in full bloom month after month, day after day after day. We're strongly being called to put on the brakes, rest, and refuel. To take a moment to restock and replenish and slow right on down. This body is the only body we're given, and it needs to be respected as such. We're being called to take responsibility for our well-being, to put our health and body first. Sometimes it feels like time is running out, and there are urgencies, things that simply can't wait. However, I know one day I'm telling you to push on, take bold, conscious, creative action. The next minute I'm saying, if you keep pushing on, fatigue will set in. There's a time for this, there's a time for that. And living in a state on this planet that is more shadow than anything, more dark, about 67% dark. That way of living isn't sustainable. This isn't a race. Eventually, exhaustion will set in. And this is where we will take longer to recover than if we were to just disengage and rest. Yesterday, I put up a spiritual maintenance thumbnail. And we're being guided to not necessarily completely shut down, but just do less. Like really, some of humanity is just doing the most right now. And during this time, they're stuck dealing with like mystery anomalies, illnesses becoming more common, too much pressure on the body to keep up. And this is where I ask, and you don't have to participate, but I am reaching out. This is somewhat of a call to action to pray over those. And just, that's really all we can do. Pray over them and then disengage. Being called to put on the brakes, rest, restore, and rejuvenate. Look after your body and your mind before we find ourselves running on our reserves. There is enough time. Life will bend towards us when we start giving ourselves more time to recover. And ask yourself, what is your body yearning for? What is your body yearning for? From the bottom, after that shuffle, we have jump in. But not, I'm telling you right now, it's not what you think it is. We're not flipping the switch in a split second over here and going from rejuvenating to doing the most. It's not what this means at all. However, we do have Andromedan energy coming in. Which we will address. It's believed that Andromedan starseeds are a group of beings who love their freedom. Very adaptable. They have a strong willingness and adaptability to change and go with the flow. To know calm. To debunk chaos. To swim with the tides. We're being encouraged to do the same. When we're out there trying to do the most, we most certainly are not in the flow. There is an opportunity ahead for us. That we will not be required permission from others. Although we're being guided to slow things down, there is this call to action and a good old run up and dive in that is necessary. But what we're diving into is nourishment, tenderness, rest, and body care. Those are the things that we're being guided to see as an adventure as we say yes to change. The Andromedan energy wants us to fall in love with surfing the waves of life, to embrace our own adaptability and find a way to be calm in the illusions of chaos. We didn't come here to be passive. And yes, that message is for me as well. We came to Earth to truly live. We will figure out the details as we go along. Sometimes it's the rougher seas that teach us how to sail. Once we recognize that, we see it as less of an attack and more of a preparation to navigate any sea, ocean, or storm. So now that we understand this is metaphoric, there is an inquiry. How are you being called to jump right on in and leap into this sea body of change? Call it osmosis. As today's morning energy forecast was about raining change. And in this process of osmosis, the rain is pooling into a sea, into an ocean. And sometimes, but not all the time, life bends for the courageous. And courageous is what we are called to be. Because with that raining change, there may be choppy waters at times. Storms brewing. And we're being guided to embrace that tsunami we're riding in on. Again, falling in love with the surfing on our waves of life. In that shuffle, without making a full pass, we have 2 cards coming out. We're going to go with Awakening first. And then the card to follow will be our closing message. Awakening, energetic upgrades. A new way of being. Integration. A reminder that not everyone is awakening. But it doesn't mean the ones who are better or more high honor than others. Things are changing within and at many levels. We're starting to remember ancient truths and discovering more and more about who we are and why we incarnated. Not what this world tells us we are, beloveds, or the people in it. Finding ourselves experiencing past life flashbacks. Ooh, let me tell ya the truth about that one, as that is the truth. And we're going through it to get through it, or we've been through it to get through it. Seeing that invisible thread that is woven through all of life, or even feeling that energy rise through our body from the base. It's not a time to be overthinking. It's a time to stay grounded and share our experiences, as it is plural, while we consciously integrate them. And in doing so, we are also remembering as our soul gifts are emerging. And being called to devote ourselves to being of service more and more, as our ideas, truths, concepts, books, and creations waiting to be birthed into this world alert us to stay open to receiving them, as we are here to birth these creations into this world, making a shift in our own life in order to be of service, doing those regular self-check-ins, but without thinking too much about it. But instead, we surrender to our awakening. We allow the energy to rise from the base. We open ourselves up to the universe, to source, our OG creator, using us in a way that delights our mind, body, and spirit. And we're drawing this message to a close with the Star Mother. How can you mother yourself? How can you mother yourself? I'm feeling guided to read this card's full description from the guidebook as a closing message for all of us. We are more held than we can possibly imagine, loved and cherished so dearly that if you knew, you would not spend 1 second of your life in the illusion of separation, worry, or fear, or guilt, or shame, or anger, or jealousy, or envy, or control, or worry. Allow the mother to carry your burdens. Allow her to rock away your fears. Lay all your worries, regrets, shame, and guilt at her feet. The mother's self within you, beloveds. Know you are love in motion. If you allow it, you're already healing. You're already healed. Let her remind you of your goodness. Let her love away your fears. Your capacity to love and hold others is limited to your capacity to love and hold yourself. Be compassionate with your sweet body, mind, and soul. Treat yourself like the beautiful spirit that you truly are. Remind yourself that you are doing your best and try not to carry it all on your own. But also, when that ego starts to flare up, remind yourself to get the flux over yourself. You've got this, and Mother has got you. Let her broad arms take away your burdens. Let her lift in the weight of the world off your shoulders. Forgive yourself. And how can you mother yourself? I will leave you with that question. 3535 on the timer. Congratulating you for embracing empathy. Our potential to understand others is most likely to turn into a promising walk of life. Do you hear me? I'll say that again. 3535 means congratulating you for embracing empathy. Compassion, beloveds. Your potential to understand others is most likely to turn into a promising walk of life. Expect a reward from the universe. Saying that even gratitude itself has, as an award, speaks volumes. We are realizing that we're working hard to attain the best in life. It's better time we scale up and grab the chances provided by our soul's guides. Continue to balance our life accordingly. For us to transition to the better, we are encouraged to align our body, mind, and soul, focusing on one thing and being so good at it that the point of forgetting past hurt and blame. Invoking hope, creativity, and growth. Embracing this golden opportunity and thanking Source, for it is our time to shine. However, the skill will only gain strength if we remain to be of service to others. Not only will we continue to learn from it, but also have clarity. As a teacher, as a guide, as a leader, as a builder, and at the same time, the job will bring forth outstanding rewards. The universe will pay its kindest due. Manifesting well into our life to attract the universe's positive frequency. Always aiming to improve and better ourselves on our soul's mission. Making prompt choices and decisions based on voluntary desires leads to disappointment. This time around, we follow our intuitions, making good use of what we have. and not giving up on our destiny. Allowing our future and path to guide us other than following some immediate needs and wants. Accepting that divine intervention to get back on track when all seems to stumble. Past heartaches and trials, confrontations, cases, causes, despite all of it, good fortune is on our side. The higher powers have trust in us, all thanks to our perseverance and positivity. Now it is up to us to make things happen upon coming out of this period of spiritual maintenance. And this is no time to be like, oh, I just got the go-ahead to come out of spiritual maintenance. That's not what I'm saying. The spiritual maintenance has to come first. You're not there yet, all right? Yes, but you do need to receive positive affirmations with open arms. And remember, you are the author of your life. Ooh. With 3535, we come as a person who is a leader and a friend to all. We are being given and gifted the willpower to help the needy, to support them, and emotional personality gives this person time to tackle their everyday issues without rushing. Leading with practicality instead of giving up in the middle. Because we tricked ourselves into believing that others weren't making progress based on what we had already done, what we had already offered, what we had already shared as a service. Most notably, free of charge. Without this attitude of opinions, the negative side to their stubbornness is that once they decide to be stubborn, they stick with their decisions. And this is where 3535 steps down to a 3434. And do keep in mind, both of these repetitious numbers are holy and sacred, neither being greater or better, or more supreme, or more favored than the other. Instead, 3434 is asking those stuck in that point to begin maintaining a more balanced state when it comes to their endpoint decision making. And again, 3535 is a notch higher, but not more important, more unique, or more of high honor. We're being guided to let go of the negative energy, toxicities, procrastinations even. Those throwing out the toxic positivity claims are the same ones we're shielded from. They haven't recognized it as a healthy boundary yet. And more than likely, when it is placed on their heart to see it as such, it'll be because they're applying it to themselves, not trying to control us or apply it to us. They will realize that we are protected from that heartache and disrespect. Which rings in 1, 2, 3. A stroke of good fortune. Insisting on standing true to our ground and creating a life worth living. Getting rid of anything that lessens the steam or the esteem. Forging ahead with life. With that mysterious force from within each and every one of us. Striving to remain the best, and remember that also taking risks teaches us valuable lessons in life. But not the best as in above others. Better yet, the best versions of ourselves we can possibly be. One step at a time. One day at a time. One moment at a time. Keep going. And brightest of blessings.